Hi, welcome back to the IzzyVerse. I'm IzzyL. We're going to continue our Royal Rumble discussion, talk a little bit about the women of the Royal Rumble, as well as some of our predictions for tonight's event. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can find us in all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. After the Rumble event today, we will have a live reaction show, so I'm looking forward to that one, and I'm hoping to see you there. Enjoy the show.
Yeah. All right, guys. So that was our first over the top rope guys that went out. So let's see who's next. All right, let's talk some more about the women here. You know what I'm saying? Let's look at that first Rumble, that first female Rumble in particular. What are some of the things that stood out for you guys with that first female Rumble? I'm gonna go with you, Sebastian, since you're my new guy in here. We got to give you some love while we're coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. No, I appreciate that. The first female Royal Rumble, I had to say what stuck out for me was some of the returning talents that we got to see who, that they went through the Diva era and all that. So it was kind of like a combination of eras that you saw in there, which was really awesome. And it just showed how far women's wrestling had come. Because we all remember at one point women's wrestling was either the bathroom break or just like it was considered like a joke, and to see a lot of these women come
Evening
back
gown match.
exactly. And
Pillow fights,
so it was like
lingerie
to see
matches.
Trish, Lita, all these wrestlers come through and get to participate in a history making match, the first one ever. That's what I really take from the first women's Royal Rumble, and it was just like dream matches just happening right there in front of us, in front of our eyes.
Yeah, it was such a good Rumble.
Mm.
As a whole, I think everything about it was cool. Even at the end, right when it finished. Let's talk a little bit about that soon enough. But I want to hear from the other guys. So I'll go with Edwin now. Edwin, what do you tell me? What do you think about that first Rumble, that first female Rumble match?
To be honest, once again, what can we say? It's about time that once again the women of wrestling get their really, it's they work as hard as the men have to gain that spotlight, not just only starting to main event WrestleMania. They didn't get that spotlight, but just give them that match because they have earned the chance to show off and are capable of showing off moves within a packed ring. Um, Once again, Asuka, who ended up winning that Royal Rumble, such a phenomenal female wrestler. It's a shame she's been on the injured list. She's not able to keep herself healthy. I pray
Beef,
that she
actually,
comes
she'll
back
be
soon. She's
back.
been missed.
I
You know,
think we'll see her.
yeah,
We'll
she's
see her
been missed.
soon.
She's been missed. But once again, it's an incredible Royal Rumble overall. It's all the participants. Uh, who was there? Banks. Once again, you had a Banks, Trish Stratus, who showed up, and they had that one-on-one face-off. Incredible. You know, I'm kind of hoping, that say Chris Pratt comes back once again. We'll see what happens.
I don't know. I think there might be some Trish Rumbles going on here. Obviously we talk a little bit, but like the returning Lita has always been second to Trish for some reason, even though I always think it should have been the other way around. But then again, I think when I think Lita and Trish, they're so close to each other that they're like pop music and alternative rock, right? That's how I see them, right? They're the top of their game, but for two completely different reasons, right? So I look at it like that, where Trish is like Britney Spears and Lita is like Courtney Love. You know what I mean? Not that Lita is like Courtney Love, but you get the comparisons there.
Mhm.
And so, hey, but what about you, Jero? What you can tell me? What you think about? Let's go talk a little bit more about other female wrestlers and the Rumble in particular, since we're in that topic and we're moving towards our female ladies.
I'd always thought that it was a great thing to have a women's Royal Rumble. It's best for business. You want to grow your audience. You want young women to see that you have female pro wrestlers, that are just as competitive, just as great as guys, and that they could throw down. So it's amazing to see all the people that we didn't expect to come to the Royal Rumble to make that big surprise, like Tori Wilson, for example, which is which was great. Trish, like you mentioned, Lita, as you mentioned, Molly Holly.
Molly Holly, yeah, I was just thinking about her.
I'm hoping that maybe this year we get some like real big surprises. Maybe we can get an Alundra Blaze.
She
Maybe.
has been on the Rumble. She did appear in the Rumble match. I do remember London Blaze, and she's one of those people that, despite her age, she still could go, and she
Yeah.
actually seems tougher now, right? She has that whole biker mentality thing going on with her. Yeah, absolutely.
I was thinking Jazz.
Jazz, especially with the bald hair now, bald
Yeah.
head look.
Yeah, I was thinking.
She's competing with Edwin right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. And Jazz, man, Jazz really throws down. She scoop slams any dude, you know. So I definitely think that Bianca Belair is going to have a couple of moments, like iconic moments in the Rumble, because she's like real strong.
Yeah,
You know,
last year's
lifted.
winner. So
Yeah, she, you know, so I think there's going to be a pretty good impact there. I do think definitely Charlotte is going to bring a lot of momentum to the Rumble. I'm definitely hoping to see Mickey James or AJ Lee, maybe. Who knows? I don't know.
I don't think we're gonna see AJ Lee. AJ Lee, I don't see happening. AJ Lee has some neck issues, and she's really happy where she's at. And if you're gonna have a surprise entry, I will say AJ Lee will be a great surprise entry, but she's married to a certain someone that probably is banned from WWE. Not to say that, you know, that kind of stuff can't happen, but I don't know. You know what I mean? Just keep in mind, when the FedEx papers came in, she was there.
Wow.
I have
you
a
were
question.
saying that with, yeah.
Two other incredible talented women who's right now in the spotlight for the belt, which is Liv Morgan, who I'm kind of hoping she puts up a good fight, because she's been in the race there with, especially with Bianca Belair, and you got Becky going up. And the other one, which can still happen, MMA fighter, Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey.
You know, I would like for her to make one more, run at it. I know she's left in
she'll be back.
Term, so
she'll be
that'll
back.
be a nice one.
I think she'll be back soon. Will she be back in time for the Rumble? That's up to her, I think. But she did make an impact on that first one, right? Asuka won it, but everybody was talking about Rousey. Unfortunately for Asuka, especially with the run Asuka had prior to that, right? You know, Asuka was dominant before that, and you know they kind of like took the spotlight off her for a second. Jose, what do you could tell me?
It's 2018, right? The first women's Royal Rumble. I was actually there.
Really?
It was in Philly.
That's right.
Yeah, I took my son there. There was his first Royal Rumble event in Philly. It's actually, if I'm not mistaken, it's the first time two Japanese wrestlers won the Royal Rumble, right? Because it was Shinsuke Nakamura and
Shinsuke
Asuka.
and her and Asuka. And both of them lost, unfortunately.
Exactly.
Their
Both of them
WrestleMania
lost.
moment.
Yes, that was.
I really love that one. That was a great Royal Rumble. I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, it was. We also had the return of well, he didn't technically return back per se, but he made it in appearance, and then later on actually made a return. Rey Mysterio, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, there was the return of Rey.
But then he was, MIA for a bit, and then he finally made an official return. It was definitely a historic event for the women's wrestling. First Royal Rumble, and they actually, if I'm not mistaken, it was the main event too, right? Of the Royal Rumble. Right?
So the first, it ended the Royal Rumble. The first women's Royal Rumble was the last Royal Rumble.
Was the last one, yeah.
Yeah, so the men started it and the women ended it.
Yeah. So it was really good. Overall, it was really good. I feel like it's just been getting better. Definitely has been getting better. The women's Royal Rumble. I would say for the first time, actually anticipating this Royal Rumble for the females as well. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of potential returns for like among Bailey.
I think Bailey's the one that's coming it back, and she's gonna come back strong. I think.
Yeah, Bailey, Asuka potentially. I've been hearing rumors about Paige. I don't know how true are those, but what if I had like a surprise just one night, guest, for Royal Rumble if it was like an AEW. I wouldn't mind if we had like a surprise guest, let's say if it was from an AEW wrestler, female, I would love to see Jade
Yes, that's
Cargill.
what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear Jade Cargill.
But I want a showdown between her and Bianca Belair.
That would be sweet, wouldn't it?
That would be
That
amazing.
is brilliant. That is brilliant.
That would be amazing to see. I think Jade Cargill, first of all, I think she's super green right now, right?
Yeah.
It shows in her,
Yeah.
especially in her promo work, right? In her promo work, there's a level of you are fresh, right? Like certified fresh. Like you could tell. She is the type of person that could be like a Kane in the Royal Rumble.
Mhm.
She has that potential.
Yeah.
Where she's so dominating looking. Like every time we see her, my wife is like, she has no fat whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like she is just chiseled.
Yeah,
and stuff.
it's just perfect, because you know how Bianca's always say she's the EST, greatest,
Yeah.
strongest, and then comes Jade Cargill, come over here, who's
Fantasy booking at its finest, right?
who's taller as well, and I'm like that would be
Yeah, but let's not take the credit off of Charlotte. How good Charlotte could be with that, right? I think Charlotte with anybody is something. People kind of they're hating on Charlotte, but I think they're hating for good reasons. Because
Why you think that?
She's a Flair.
I think
that's it.
Well, I think in Charlotte's case, she's been overbooked. She's always been. I think she's always been the safe bet.
They have
Because
no one for her right
Exactly. She's the safe bet to the point that she's escalated herself to be so great that technically no one's better than her in the ring, right? And as a heel, let's be honest, right? As a heel, it's true. Problem with Charlotte is that she elevates everyone else, but it becomes overbooking to the point that we're sick and tired of her. We should be sick and tired of other people, but we are not, because it doesn't feel that way. Where in Charlotte's case, it's like, oh, you got to strap the belt on her again. Oh, you got to strap her. Oh, we know what you're doing. It's like, we know what you're doing, right? You want to get her to get to 16. That's what you want her to do. So we see that already. And that's one of those things is like, when it becomes visible to the viewer, we lose touch with that character. When it becomes visible that we think that they think that we want this, that's when it becomes tired. That's why the John Cena's didn't work. That's why the Roman Reigns didn't work, right? Charlotte is in the same category. It's the same reason why Ronda Rousey wasn't working for a while, right? Ronda Rousey, she's an amazing performer, but again, she's Ronda Rousey. She's an outsider coming in, and you're giving her everything.
I want to say, I personally think that for people to like Charlotte more, I think she needs to deviate away from the Flair gimmick and have an original gimmick of her own that's totally like foreign. And I think that would make Charlotte stand out a lot more. I think people would like her more, just like how Becky Lynch, really changed her persona. Britt Baker,
Yeah.
she really reinvented herself. I remember in the beginning, in the first couple of weeks, on AEW television, she was a dentist and everything, but it didn't really it was too
babyface.
It was too babyface. And I was telling my wife, she needs to really put her dentist persona in it and become a heel. She needs to really go with that dentist persona and ride with it. Say, I'll beat the hell out of this girl, take her teeth out, I'll ruin her at a dental appointment, something like that. And sure enough, later on, she really elevated herself. And I enjoy every Britt Baker match. I'm always excited to see her in the ring. But when it comes to Charlotte, I just feel like I'm looking at Flair's daughter. I feel like I'm looking at a reflection of Flair. And that's not in particular what I really want to see. I want to see something brand new, really original, something that feels like.
I mean, hence why people embraced the man Becky Lynch.
But I kind of agree with it's we kind of got a little bit that when she was actually feuding with Lacey Evans. If you recall, when right before Lacey announced that she was pregnant, when she had the whole "I'm in love" or
Oh man,
that she's in
that was
love
so
with
bad.
Rick, it was bad, but the whole gimmick where you saw kind of Charlotte back up, be like, all right, I can't stand you because who you are, so I don't want to be what you are. And it kind of made it very relevant, very visible that she was kind of going for a change. But once again, with Lacey and her situation becoming pregnant, so I'm kind of hoping that's another one, a wild card who can make her return for this Rumble, because there's been rumors and pictures that were leaked of her doing her workouts, and she looks very trimmed once again. She looks very incredible. So I'm kind of hoping and get ready to see her also to come back and putting up a fight, especially with Charlotte.
I think in Lacey Evans is one of those wrestlers that you forget about.
Yeah.
And she got the chops. She got the chops. She got the gab. I give her that much. You know, her gimmick. You love to hate that gimmick. You know, it's a gimmick that works. I think in her case, I think there's a little more. It's kind of like Jade Cargill in the way that I think she's still a little green. That she needs to work on her ring ability. You know, being able to sell properly, being able to draw something. Like they tried to turn her into a baby space in the weirdest way, and it didn't work. Because just 2 weeks prior she was a heel. You don't just, obviously it could happen overnight. We were talking about like Sluger earlier, that it could happen overnight, but there was no reason to get there at that point. It was like, okay, now I'm a face kind of thing, right? So with Lacey Evans, I do see there is some potential. I'm really sad to see someone like Toni Storm gone. Toni Storm
that
for
was
me.
crazy.
Now,
I love
granted,
Toni.
she made the decision, so I'll give her that much, right? But
I think she
Toni
knew she
Storm,
wasn't going anywhere. Let's just be real.
If you look at it over the years, WWE flourished when they had meaningful competition that was there for them to keep them going. And I think right now, with the introduction of AEW, the rebranding of Impact with what they're doing, and then New Japan now being known in the States, it's like they have all these wrestlers that they snatched up, and wrestlers that we all love seeing in the indies, and then now they were just sitting there doing nothing. Now they're like, I could just leave to another company now. You're not the end all be all, which is like I go, I would love a Tasha Steelz to be in the Royal Rumble. I would love the Jordan Grace to be in the Royal Rumble, but them in WWE, I know they're not going to get the burn that we all going to want to see. Whereas if they go to AEW, Impact, or New Japan, we're going to see them do some meaningful stuff. And like
even AEW, I think
I still
AEW
feel
is
like
getting
it's
to
the
that
size
point.
too. Let's just be real, like WWE is not really known to give smaller guys opportunities, or like it's. I mean, very few people that have given that opportunity because they were just bigger than, I guess, than the authorities that were trying to, like, people like AJ Styles, Chris Jericho. They're not big guys, and they just, Rey Mysterio, of course, Eddie Guerrero. There is a good number of people, but let's just be real. Like, WWE has this track record of always pushing bigger guys,
And it goes back. It goes all the way back to Hogan, right? Hogan was their big. Hogan was their big guy. It was weird that Hogan was a baby face at that time, because Hogan always faced guys that were bigger than him, except for Piper. Piper
but
was
that's
really
to
the
show you.
only guy. I think this year is a good opportunity for the women to flourish.
Yes,
I do believe that there is a lack of talent this year. And the purpose behind the lack of talent is the reason why we're seeing a lot of the older people coming back. Let's face it, who really wants to see Summer Rae return? She's beautiful lady. She could dance. What is she known for? Being Fandango's dancer. So I don't know what, that was just like, we got to fill in the spot. Kelly, another fill in the spot person, right? I think this is a sign of why WWE is struggling. But I just want to focus my attention on Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. I got to give Seth Rollins credit. Seth Rollins right now has turned himself into one of the best characters out there.
I
right?
agree.
And it's like, and then the funny thing is that he's competing against Becky, his wife, because each one of them comes out with a different outfit. It's like,
Yes.
which outfit's better, yours or mine? right? Just his outfits alone are just worth watching, you
But you
know.
but
And
you could tell that he's embracing this gimmick and he's loving it. You could tell. Like
yes,
he's in the zone right now. I'm sorry.
yeah,
Like he really is. Like from the corporate or the Weasel to the face where it kind of didn't it was working for him for a little bit, but again it was bad booking. They didn't really have good challengers for him, and that's not fair to him. Because there were some, he has some really bad bookings. The Fiend was one of them.
yeah.
It,
Oh,
it
that
was
was
it
just
was
bad all around.
yeah, and I feel like they just didn't have a good booking for Seth, but I feel like now that he reinvented himself, like from the Messiah, he morphed into the Embrace the Vision. He's just in the zone right now. This is
Yeah,
him. Like
this is the best Rollins I've seen.
yes, yes, yes.
He comes in, he's like, he's like,
I
he's
love it. I love
it,
it. I
it,
love
it,
it.
it it is
Ooh,
so good, right? And especially now that
yes.
he's picking back off of Roman Reigns, it's like now it's like flip. Usually he's like the bad guy when Roman was the good guy. Now it's flip, and it seems to work. And he could, I don't know what's happening today, but it's kind of like you could kind of see how it's agitating Roman, like it's
Yes.
upsetting him because just last week he comes up and he ducked from the Usos in such
Hmm.
a cool way too. He like, well,
Yeah.
no, but he comes up where he's like he still has his heel tendencies,
Yep.
but again, he's a heel, but to our hearts, he's a good guy, right? He's a baby face.
Yeah.
He's playing that card really well, which I absolutely love. I love Rollins today. So Sami
Mhm.
Zayn is another one of those guys that I think is killing it right now.
I
You know,
agree. I agree. Even though like he'd be having some weird matches, the good thing about Sami Zayn is that eh, he's in camera every single show,
mhm,
and whether he's wrestling or not, his presence is already felt in the show, and that's how he's killing him. Like,
yeah.
and I just heard that there was the thing he signed an
He
extension.
just re-signed. Yeah,
He just re-signed. Some people say it was a bad move, but I mean, like, whether he's
I
main
don't think
eventing
so.
or not, listen, this guy is on the show. He's on SmackDown every single Friday. You
Believe me,
know?
WWE needs him. They
Yes,
definitely need him.
I
He brings a
absolutely
lot of
agree.
flavor to the shows.
Yes,
I was
yes.
at first I didn't I wasn't a big fan of the Fidel Castro look because
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
what I saw.
Okay.
That's what I
Oh
see. I
yeah,
see Fidel
that's how I saw
Castro.
too. Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if I feel this Fidel Castro, but now I'm starting to love the conspiracy theory, Sami Zayn. And the
Hmm.
thing is that his conspiracy theories are making sense.
Yeah.
His theories are like, no, this is what they're doing, and you know what? They are. You know what I mean? I could
Hmm.
see him entering the Rumble, and he's the one getting thrown out by Johnny Knoxville. I could see that a mile
Oh
away,
no, that's gonna
right?
happen.
That's a
He's
mile away.
It's
But
gonna end up being a WrestleMania match
yeah,
between him and Johnny Knoxville.
so that there is something to there's
Yeah.
something building, so he's becoming the celebrity wrestler, right?
Hmm.
So when the wrestlers come in, they're gonna go with Sami Zayn, which is fine. I
Hmm.
think there's some merit to that, which brings him credibility, because guess what, when those celebrities come in and they show up on ET, when they show the, like you said, it's always on camera,
Uh
when
huh.
they show that, who are they going to see?
Sami
They're going
Zayn.
to see Sami Zayn next to the
Hmm.
celebrity wrestler, which in turns picks up his credibility. It works sometimes, sometimes it doesn't, right? Lawrence Taylor, Bam Bam Bigelow didn't really work out. Going back to the women, I feel the closest winner that we will have, unless it'll be a surprise winner. I think it'll probably end up being a surprise winner. Personally speaking, I don't think Mickey's gonna win. Mickey James, I
No.
don't see winning. I see her just showing off. She's gonna come with the belt. By the way, they already
Yeah.
announced she's coming with the belt, which that's a shock.
I mean, I wouldn't be
But what I
surprised if she's one of the last five.
Yeah, she'll probably be a final four, I'll say.
Yeah.
Um, I'll see that. I could see a potential Trish come in. I don't think Charlotte's gonna win.
No.
If anything, what I see, if Trish shows up, Trish will be the one to eliminate Charlotte to build towards a Charlotte Flair match. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm
I
thinking in my head. I
I
see
like that.
that matching. I see that
I need
happening.
I think Charlotte needs that match because that's a legacy match that would help boost Charlotte.
Yeah, and
because
not that she needs any more, but I think that will be a match, unless Charlotte wins for the sake of unification.
I would like to see Liv Morgan win. This
I
the
would like
whole
to see Liv Morgan win, but I don't think she's gonna win. I think
Yeah, I don't think
she
so
was
either.
given. I would think she was giving her run just now. If she didn't have a run, then I didn't think. They don't think that far ahead. I don't think
yeah.
Liv Morgan's quite there yet, to be quite honest.
Uh,
Um,
Oh, go ahead.
I'm my pick, and this is just me going by the comment that this Hall of Famer made the 2 weeks ago, where she goes, "I'm making this last final run," which was Lita. And usually, when they bring back a Hall of Famer to return out a Royal Rumble for any match, they will always mention, "I'm making this final run," and it usually ends up where they're going to main event for the at WrestleMania and let it be their final match for their final career. So I think honestly, from my opinion, I think Lita will be the one to win the Rumble, so she can get her final run to main event at WrestleMania, and
I
that'll be
mean, she
her
don't have to win the
her,
Rumble to necessarily
her
main event
I don't think she's
WrestleMania.
gonna win the Rumble. I think she's a draw by herself.
Yeah, but I
My
don't think she
personal opinion.
and she doesn't need to win the Rumble to main event because there's two brands. So I mean, one brand could easily pick Raw, and she can still fight Charlotte at WrestleMania.
I think
Yeah.
the only reason they would give Lita the win is similar to like what they did with Edge, just to be like, we gave you a Royal Rumble win. It's now in her resume as a Royal Rumble winner. That's the
But
only way
that's
I
the
see it
point.
doing
It's
for
like,
her.
is it really necessary? She even got the Hall of Fame. There's
I don't
nothing
think
there's nothing to do. I think in Edge's case is that he has something to prove with the fight that's in him. I love Edge, and let's be honest, his surprise entry was amazing, right? He not to say that no one saw it coming, because I kind of knew already it was happening, but at the same time, to see it was a big deal. Now, if we go up to a similar matter and say Paige, I could see her winning
I
if
was
that
just
was to happen.
I was funny because I was just saying that earlier today to my coworker. I was like, yo, if she comes, like if the rumors are true and she actually appears in the Rumble, I could see her winning the Rumble. I think it would be a huge draw. I mean, I
I
think
think she could win it. Yeah.
I mean, I think the fans will
I
embrace
mean,
it immediately.
to piggyback was it. She's gonna get the same pop that Edge got when he came out the room. Just hearing her music is gonna get the same feedback that Edge got, and that's just gonna boost up just the ambiance and the crowd going crazy. It's gonna make her actions and just the match even better for the Rumble. So I
Because
do agree with Jose.
I think Paige is the closest thing to a surprise entry
Yeah.
that could win it. I don't see much surprise entries, especially in the women's side. I don't see a lot of surprise entries winning.
I mean,
I
with that draw, with that, I think Pages right now will be the biggest surprise star.
Mhm.
I mean,
And win.
Oscar,
I could see a winner.
I can't too.
I could see her winning if she was to do that. Oscar's another one, but I don't see Oscar winning. I could see Oscar
No.
returning, but not winning.
Yeah, she's not winning.
Um, yeah, I love
And
Oscar.
Bianca already won it last year. She ain't gonna win it this year. I mean,
Yeah.
let's just
Yeah.
be real. I don't see her winning in back-to-back years.
Yeah,
It's
I don't
not
think
really.
I don't think they're as generous as they used to be.
No, yeah, I don't see that. So I mean,
Okay.
I would accept it, but I mean,
Yeah.
it wouldn't. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go and talk a little bit about who we think are our predictions for this Rumble. Before we even talk about the Rumble in itself, let's talk about the main event cards, right? The
Okay.
two big matches that we're going to talk about, right?
Mhm.
I'm going to go first since we kind of already talked a little bit about it. Let's talk about Seth and Roman Reigns. What do you guys think?
I Seth is gonna win. Um, that's what I think. I believe Seth is gonna win. I think they're tying in they're tying in the storyline with Roman Reigns and Brock. That's not over. Um, I don't think Seth is gonna win it cleanly. I think Brock might have a hand on it. I wouldn't be surprised if Brock intentionally screws Roman over. Now,
Shenanigans?
yeah, I could see that. I could see Brock just intentionally, like giving it to Roman, and then Roman going after Brock for WrestleMania, for the world heavyweight title or WWE title, and then just like Seth said, he'll bring the Universal over to Raw.
You
And
see
then
the flop, the flip.
yeah, there's gonna be a flop because Roman is not leaving SmackDown, and the Brock versus Roman, I feel like it's inevitable. Brock versus Lashley is just like a little speed bump. It's great for the cards. Don't get me wrong, but I think the real match here is Roman and Brock, and he's not gonna get into WrestleMania as champion. He will be there. Brock will he will be fighting Brock for the title, while Seth will be the one with the Universal title. I mean, that's my prediction.
Okay, what about you guys? What the rest of you? What do you guys say?
I
What do you
agree.
think?
I think Seth is going to defeat Roman for the belt, for the Universal belt, bringing it over to Raw. Once again, just to piggyback, I agree that they're going to bring back the whole Brock versus Roman to see who takes that reign finally between those two guys. And Bobby Lashley, I'm not sure if he's going to beat Brock. That's a big one on top of it. These are two Titans that we finally going to get because we've been wanting that match.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a dope match. I think it will be a match that will surprise everyone.
Two big boys. I have to say, as of late, I at first when Brock Lesnar was first coming up with WWE, the guy can move for a big guy. Later on, when he came back, that he was doing the whole MMA thing. His in-ring actions weren't up to par. But I want to say that this version of Brock Lesnar has become a favorite for me. I'm liking this version of Brock Lesnar. I like that times where he goes and picks and he's a little comical with his promos. I like this version of Brock Lesnar, and as of lately, he's putting up a fight and not dominating everybody. He's taking bumps himself a lot more than what he usually takes, which is
he's actually
so
appearing on the shows.
And
he's
yes,
actually
he's
appearing on the shows.
I do accept it. I appreciate it. It's about time that he actually gets into the company. I know he's taking his hits, but it's about time that I like seeing that he's not overpowering everybody. He seems a little more human, where he's taking hits and he's making them look like I'm getting hurt. I like those bumps that he's taking. So I'm actually which I can't wait to learn when the whole Bobby Lashley and him when they clash. It's gonna be a good one.
Honestly, when it comes to Brock Lesnar, he's one of those weird ones for me. I again, don't get me wrong. I think he's a force of nature, right? He's an attraction to this, to the level of Andre the Giant was back in the day, right? I think that's what Brock Lesnar has become. So I think the money he earns, he earned it. It's not that they just gave it to him, but I do believe he's one of those guys that is like, for me personally, is like, we got nothing to do. Let's call Brock, see if he'll help us out, right? And he does that. The only thing I have about Brock in particular is I agree he doesn't get to wrestle as frequently, and it does comes across as, yeah, I'll disappear for a couple of months and then come back. That's my problem when it comes to Brock with the belt, which he's not doing now, which is good to see. Yeah. But name me the last time he wrestled on television on a free event, not including the world premiere SmackDown where he defeated Kofi in 7 seconds, which I think was a shame. But, I'm thinking to myself, how are you going to take the belt off of Roman right now? As much as we're talking about the shenanigans that go along with it, I think to take the belt off of Roman has to be a big deal.
I mean, it makes sense. He lost Heyman. I mean, even though that idea is kind of flirting, because I feel like poor Heyman is just still gonna go back with the tribal chief.
Yeah, it's all part of the game, right?
But I think it only makes sense for him losing the belt because he's losing everything. He lost he lost his what do you call it? Special advocate. No, special counsel.
His advocate, yeah.
Advocate.
The council.
Yeah, special counsel, right? Special counsel
the
is
council,
chief, right?
the council is the tribal chief, the advocates for.
So he lost his special counsel. It only makes sense for him to lose the belt as well, but I mean, not in a fair way. More like, Brock is being is responsible for.
Yeah,
and I feel like it will add for more fuel and for that Brock versus Roman. I feel like it's just gonna add more to.
I'll be honest. I don't need another Brock Roman match.
I mean, I want this version of Brock versus Roman. I'm kind of
I think
invested in this
I
story.
think what I think is that Roman, don't get me the wrong, don't get this the wrong way. The best thing to ever happen to Roman right now was to get COVID during day one, or to be, tested positive for it, for the fact that it made us thirsty for the match. If not, we wouldn't have been thirsty for a WrestleMania Brock versus Roman, because we already had it this past year, right? Now, again, like I said, I'm not wishing harm on anybody in particular, but I think that was one of those rare occasions where they ended up changing the card, changing the story
Hmm.
as they were getting there, which made it better. I think it's better now because they haven't been able to butt heads, right? The best thing that you always had in wrestling was that the two guys are unable to touch each other until it's time, right?
Hmm.
But now we get it so frequently that it doesn't have that special aura that it should have. WrestleMania, to me, should be two guys fighting either for the first time, or it's been a very long time before we got them fighting again, right? Because again, no one could really pull off Austin and Rock anymore. No one could pull that off, right? They main event 3 WrestleManias. They can't pull it off. But what was interesting about that is that each one of them were special. They were different in each one of them, right?
Hmm.
We had the Austin turn moment, right? We had the Austin shine, finally beat the corporation. So little things like that is what made that special. Again, if we were to see another Becky versus Charlotte match, the only way it's going to matter to us is that there's some time away from it, that they can't touch each other, right? Because I think it's going to happen. I do see that match occurring again, right? Or a Bailey versus Sasha. I see those matches occurring again, but there has to be longevity to it, where they're not doing that as often as they used to. The other thing is, my personal opinion. This is completely off the subject here. I can't stand those belts. The 4 world title belts, I
Uh,
can't stand them, and this is why I can't stand them, because they're 4 generic belts. They don't look different. They don't
yeah.
feel different. They're the same belt
Hmm.
with different color schemes. That is awful.
I
I
You know
give
what
agree.
I
you
mean?
I
I'm gonna give you
agree.
something interesting that and then obviously WWE will not do this. Let's forsake say Bobby Lashley ones because I like the fact we're getting Bobby Lashley versus Brock. Let's give it to Bobby Lashley, right? And then let's give to Seth Rollins. Let's let them win. Let's have them have a WrestleMania moment together. But let's have Brock Lesnar take on Roman Reigns that did Roman's better than Brock, being like because again, it's great seeing Brock doing the character he's doing now because it's a great reinvention for him to stay relevant and all that. Let's have them have a WrestleMania match where no title is on the line, but it's more about the pride of the wrestler and all that, like who's pride or like who's the best and all that at WrestleMania. So, I mean, I think that that would be a great way to give a nice little swerve ball for fans because it's like you're kind of already expecting Brock to win. You're kind of expecting either Seth or Reigns to win, and I think that Seth winning would be more of a thing that would be a shocker for fans, especially in
Hmm.
whatever way that it does it. And then like how you said, like it's Seth doesn't go over cleanly. It's Brock. Brock is just mad he lost the title. So he's like, you know what, Roman, I'm gonna screw you, and screws Roman and losing his title because him and Roman go back and forth, and then you set that up for a WrestleMania moment. Have them go into WrestleMania without a title and take on each other, and it's just a grudge match. And I think that that would, to me,
Because
I
we had
that's
that
something I love to
match.
see.
That match exists. Brock versus Roman exists already in WrestleMania. The catch was Seth Rollins jumped in. That was
Yeah,
the catch, right? But that match already existed. So and they've had matches before. We want to see Brock face guys he hasn't faced. You would have asked me, I would have done Brock versus Lashley for Mania because I feel that particular feels more like a WrestleMania card because they haven't touched. They haven't been able to feel each other out. Lashley for years have been wanting this match. One of the reasons why he came back was to get this match. And to give it to him in a Rumble, come on. Rumble is not the place you want to have your main event match.
No, you had
But
two
it's
big
tough because
giants.
it's
Yeah.
but it's tough though, like,
Unfortunately, no one talks about, most people don't talk about the main event wrestling match in Royal Rumble. It doesn't happen. And it's usually, the winner is usually to get ready for WrestleMania. Or it's just the tryout period. Who remembers Bob Holly getting Brock Lesnar? Is that the match we're all talking about? Hardcore Holly versus Brock Lesnar, WrestleMania. Think about that for a second. And then did we see Hardcore Holly anytime after that in the main event? Didn't happen, right? Not that he deserved it or not. I'm not saying that, but this is the spot where you just put your, okay, you know, the Rumble is our main event. The world title, we'll give it to a mid-carder to see how they do. And that's what it usually is. And that's how it feels sometimes. To the point that Brock versus Lashley, to me, feels more like a match that could be a WrestleMania match.
I absolutely agree. I would have definitely loved to see that. I think I think with the whole day one, it changed a lot of the cards around.
Yeah.
Because supposedly, I think I read somewhere that supposedly the original plan was for Drew McIntyre to fight Roman at the Royal Rumble for the title. I mean, even though it wasn't expected for Drew to win, but with the whole injury of Drew McIntyre,
I could see, talking about winners, talking about who's winning the Rumble, since it's in my head already. I guess we could talk about that right now. Again, the male's Royal Rumble doesn't have a lot of likely winners that we could think off the top of our head, but there is one person that comes to mind that stands out more than anybody else to me, and that's Big E. I could see Big E winning the Royal Rumble.
He's favorite. He's
a favorite. I could see him winning it, but I would actually like him to fight Roman. That's who I would like to see.
Okay.
Because there is already some beef already in play with the New Day and the Usos, and there's beef that was already started back in the Survivor Series that they could still, marinate, right? They could still build upon. That's a match I would see. I think Big E's title run was a shame because he was always on the losing end of things, and he's the champion. You know what I mean? So as a champion, he wasn't protected, right? Your champion should be protected. When Kenny Omega was the belt collector in AEW, he didn't lose a match, even if it was a tag team match, even if it was a three-way match. He didn't lose a match. He didn't get pinned. They protected him as a champion. That's what should have happened on day one. I didn't have a problem with Brock winning the title there.
Yeah.
I had a problem with Brock beating Big E for that title. Why? Because Big E was already in the rear view mirror because Lashley was there, right? So why did Big E have to get pinned? He didn't need to get pinned. Yeah,
I agree.
He didn't need to get pinned. Neither did Lashley.
It could have been Kevin Owens.
It could have been Kevin. Kevin was the one that could have taken that L, right? But they didn't do it that way. Why? Only they know for sure. They know what their future is, unless we dictate their future, which doesn't happen that often, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely Big E's the favorite. I personally, I'm just going by personally who I would like to win the Rumble. Not just for any apparent reason or storyline purposes or whatever, but I would love to see AJ win the Royal Rumble. I think it would be exciting. I think it would be a surprise. No one would see it coming. Everybody's expecting Big E to win. That's like the favorite to win Big E. So, will they pull a swerve?
They've done it.
So I would love it. I would love it to be AJ Styles. That would be pretty dope. Nobody would see that coming.
At the Rumble, I would love to see AJ toss Omos.
Ooh,
that would be one. I would love to see AJ starting off, if not even starting it, but finishing, having a few guys on them, but having AJ to be the one to actually help, and at the end just toss them off.
And just to
That
add
would
to
be
that,
awesome.
AJ winning the Rumble, and if Seth wins, Seth wins the title, AJ versus Rollins at WrestleMania.
That would be sweet. That's actually a good match.
And that's another good match.
Babyface AJ.
Yeah.
I want babyface AJ. I think he's transitioning back to the babyface AJ.
Not that the heel's bad, because I love heel AJ too.
Yeah.
I do love heel AJ.
But you got to go babyface when you're facing Seth freaking Rollins. You already know.
Yeah, he's a guaranteed heel. He's so much.
Yeah, but that would be a really good wrestling. I think it was can very much steal the show in WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, they have that caliber. What about you, Jarrell? You've been quiet lately. What do you got to say?
Big respects to AJ Styles, man. I love AJ. I think you guys brought up some amazing points. Brock versus Roman Reigns. That's like that signature, big band, blockbuster match. Having Roman fight Seth Rollins, that's a great idea too. My biggest gripe, and I know it was probably near impossible that this would have happened, but what I really wanted to see, leading towards WrestleMania, was seeing Brock face Lashley for the heavyweight title. I also wanted to see Roman versus The Rock. I felt that that part during Survivor Series when Vince had the egg, I thought that they were going to go with that, and that would start that would be the seed towards a rivalry between Roman and Rock.
There is some information about what happened. The plan was for him to be there. It was for him to be there. Because of schedule reasons, he couldn't make it. Now, here's the funny part. They knew that in July. And they still went with it. It was the most pathetic Survivor Series thing to do.
That's a surprise to me. Yeah.
They build us up for nothing, right? Which was the saddest thing to see.
Because that's what I was anticipating.
Everybody was. You made it obvious. You made it so obvious that he had to show up, and he didn't even not even a videotape.
Yeah.
We didn't even get a video of him saying thank you. You know what I mean? He'll do, and I bet you he would have done it. But I bet you he would have done it with the money. He knew that they had that kind of money, and they probably didn't want to cough up the money or something like that.
And I'm a big fan of The Rock. And I'm a big fan of The Rock. And if he was to lose to Roman at WrestleMania to pass the torch to him, I would have understood that. And I thought that would be good for business. But I thought just to have a cousin and cousin rivalry, something that we haven't seen in I don't know how long, I thought that would have been, great to see.
I think they were hoping for that. And I think the pandemic kind of messed that up. If we didn't have a pandemic, we probably would have had that match.
And The Rock's a busy guy. And Dwayne's a busy guy,
Yeah, Dwayne's a busy guy. The Rock's not doing anything these days, right? But I think that would have happened if it wasn't for the pandemic. The pandemic stopped it. Because I think when it comes to The Rock right now, I think we've seen the last wrestling match of The Rock. I don't think he's gonna wrestle again.
Yeah.
Personally speaking, I don't think he's gonna wrestle again.
He's focused on tequila.
He's focused on a lot of other things.
Terramana,
and that energy drink Zoa.
Yeah. So I tried his Terramana. I suggest definitely mix that with pina colada. I think that's best.
It's good. It's good.
Drink it by itself. Pina colada.
Yeah, I would say you had a perfect story for the tribal chief to have. You know what I mean?
Versus the Master Chief.
Exactly. It would have the Master Chief. That's actually good. But I think that would have been so perfect. You had it. You could have done it. If you would have turned Roman heel long before he did now, I think you would have gotten that match.
And they're going
That
to be in
match would've been-
Hollywood. They're going
They
to be in
would've-
Hollywood, right?
Yeah, but I think
Yeah,
I think
Next year,
I'll-
next year is
yeah.
Hollywood.
Oh, next year.
so. That's so if we don't get it next year, we're not getting it. But I could see Roman keeping the belt that long. Honestly,
wow,
I could see it.
And he
I can
already
see-
sup-
I
and he
can't
already
take
surpassed Brock.
it.
He
He already
surpassed Brock.
He already surpassed
Wow.
Brock. He's
Because
what, like
that's how-
500?
Yeah, 500 plus days now. He's like 560.
Oh my gosh. At some point, I'm really going to be like, please strip the title from Roman, man.
You see
At
that,
least
and
at
that's the
some
thing.
point.
That's the thing. When I was a kid, one guy kept the belt. Hogan.
Yeah.
Hogan kept the belt for 3 years before he lost it.
I can understand that. I can see that. I won't be
But
bored
before-
with Hogan.
But before Hogan, it was Backlund. Backlund kept it for a long time.
Yeah,
Pedro
but,
Morales kept it for a
What
long
about
but
time.
remember,
Sammartino?
those shows, they
Sam, I
weren't
was gonna go
televised-
right there.
I mean, but remember, they weren't televising shows every week. You know, it was like they were recorded shows, and they didn't. You know, it wasn't like what it is now that Friday Night SmackDown is every Friday. Monday, it's every Monday. You know, like it's different. You know, like now holding for 3 years, you can't do that.
I think no, you can. I think you can. 3 years, yeah. I think you can pull it off now.
man,
I
3
think
years.
they're.
That's
I
like
would.
that's like a pool of talent being buried.
But it's not that, because if you think about the 80s in particular, the 80s, it started in the late 90s during the Attitude Era when they started flip-flopping the belts, and that became a thing. But before that time, the titles didn't change hand that frequently. A person will keep a title for almost a year, usually almost a year, and before that even longer. The problem that we have right now is exactly what it is. To legitimize somebody, we want to make them a champion. You don't have to do that. How many people are there that are Hall of Famers today and have never held the title? Jake the Snake Roberts has never held a title. And I'm not talking about I'm talking about mid-card titles as well.
Yeah, Piper
Right?
was right there.
And Piper had the IC belt at one time.
Only
So-
the IC belt. That's it.
You know, in WWE, but he ended up getting the world title too, in WCW.
WCW.
But-
yeah.
Yeah, but if you think about it like that, people didn't have, Perfect's another one. Perfect never held the world title,
No. Intercontinental. That's it.
right? But that was his belt. He
That was
made
his
that
belt.
belt,
It
right?
was. But
That
see,
was-
that's where WWE is lacking. And I was telling my my boy Edwin over here, like what WWE is lacking is that when we looking like even from back then, especially during the Attitude Era, and I always go back to the Attitude Era, because the Attitude Era, it wasn't just the era, violence or whatever it is, but it's like every card had a storyline, and it didn't matter. Like at one point, holding the belt was irrelevant. You just was so invested in the feud. Like Austin didn't need the belt. How many times Austin won the belt? 6 times, I think, or something like that.
Austin
6,
became
7
big
times?
before the belt.
But that's what I'm saying. Austin didn't even need the belt. Like he won it because it was part of a feud. It was in the feud, but it's like he didn't need the belt. It's like it was so perfect during that era, is because it wasn't just the main event but the mid card was so stacked. It was very meaty, you know what I'm saying? And it's like now it's like you got Damian Priest doing what, and Shinsuke Nakamura doing what. It's like you got these two mid carders that there's nothing going on with the US title or the Intercontinental title. It's like nothing going on. There's nothing.
You forget they're the champions.
Yes, and that's the thing. It's like back then,
And-
Chris Jericho was the
But to
Intercontinental
piggyback-
champion. It was ridiculous. The Rock was a mid card before he became, the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. He was a mid carder. It was so stacked. It was so good. And even the low cards that had no titles or whatever it is, it was still good. What's going on there? It's like that's what WWE is lacking. It's just the depth of storyline. They just been focusing on just the face, like you were saying, the top tier. But then what's up with all these
Everything
mid-cards
else
and
is just
everything else
here.
is just like, okay, it's just booking. Let's just
we
put
put
them
it together.
Yeah.
and that's it.
To the point that we have matches that just keep repeating themselves,
Mm.
right?
Oh yes.
There's
Well,
like,
look at
oh, here's this match again. Here's this match again. Here's this match again. It's just a repeat every week, back to back, right?
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
why I kind of like that one person who did hold the IC belt, and he said it himself. I made this belt what it is, and I made it relevant, which is the Miz.
I was gonna say that too. I was gonna
Yeah.
say that.
The Miz, yeah, he made honestly before the Miz a while. You forgot about what the IC stood for
Yeah.
until he gained the belt and he made it relevant all over again. And he stated every week, "I made this belt. You don't want to come to see any other belts. Whoever upper
We
we
odds,
just,
lost
we
who
that.
just cut him
cares?
off. We
I'm
just
the
cut him
guy you
off.
came to see." And he made it known. And it was interesting to see that every other week he didn't fight the same fight, even though he had what was it called, the B team. He fought his half his fights, but it was against included other people. It wasn't the same thing over and over and over and over, which was great to see because he was there every week, even though he didn't put up the fight himself, but he did start the fights,
Yeah,
and he
I have,
made that belt very relevant, which is
I have
good.
to agree with that because Miz is definitely one of those wrestlers who him and Dolph Ziggler are probably the two best to me on the roster right now because Miz, no matter what he's in, he brings that old school feel
Mhm.
of we're telling a story. Doesn't
Mhm.
matter. I'm not in the main event picture. I'm in this mid card picture. I'm telling a story. And like Jose said, that's definitely one of the things WWE is missing because it is the mid card story, the feud stories, all that really drove where the card was going. And a lot of the times, like, you don't know who the champions are because they're not given any story. And I mean, this is why 205 failed because it was just matches that they were throwing in there with booking and they weren't focused on the story. And I always tell people historically WWE fails with our shows. And they go, how you know that? Look at Velocity, look at Sunday Night Heat.
But those
They didn't
shows,
go anywhere.
but here's the thing with those shows. Those are shows that are shows of the past,
Yeah. And
right? They
it's
they're very much shows that are throwaway shows that don't have much of the flair that you see in Raw or SmackDown or a Dynamite, right? Take
Hey
it easy,
guys,
Joe.
but it's
man,
All
like
right.
I had so much fun. You guys are great, man. I love this. I love
that's meeting you,
this.
brother.
All right.
We'll we'll
Enjoy.
My
we'll, we'll do
pleasure.
this again sometime. Trust me. We'll do another one. I'll
Yes,
see you. I'll
please.
see you in the
So
pronto
sad to
one.
go.
I'll
All
see you at the
right.
pronto one. Okay, Jarrell? The
All right,
pronto
gentlemen.
reunion. I'll see you there. All right. And we lose Jarrell. He's getting thrown out of the ring right now. There you go. One of the things that makes the Miz great at what he does is that he is an actor in wrestling.
Mhm.
We have and this is why he's so successful in WWE. He brings the entertainment into sports entertainment,
Mhm.
right? And we know that's a taboo term to us wrestling purists, right? Sports entertainment is if you're an indie guy, you don't want to hear it. But if it wasn't for sports entertainment, we wouldn't have the indies. You get what I'm saying, guys? If it
He's
wasn't for
also he's also a reality star that's in wrestling.
Mhm.
yeah, he's a guy that he is talking about tough enough. I saw him in the real world. You know what I mean? I saw him in the real world. When he was in the real world, I saw it, and I never knew of anything about this biz. When he showed up in wrestling, I told my sister. My sister and I don't know, we were really into that Real World series at that time, and we was like, hey, Mike is he was Mike, right? He was Mike Mizanin. It's like, hey, Mike is in WWE. It's like what? Yeah, he's going by the Miz, and it was a very slow progression for him, right? Because he was doing something, but he became like he said it himself. We want you to be. They wanted him to be the Ryan Styles of WWE, but he took that as offensive, right? Because no one really knew he was that much of a fan until after the fact, right? He was one of those outsiders looking in. That's what a lot of people thought, but apparently he was definitely a fan. And as time progressed, he started gaining more credibility, not because of his wrestling, because let's face it, he's not a wrestler,
No, he's
right?
not.
They call him the king of soft style, right?
No, yeah,
For a reason,
it's
right?
true.
But what he is able to elevate, and he is able to elevate with his fans, is that he is a great heel coward wrestler. He's a coward in the finest ways, right? He's a scaredy cat. He tries to be that. He is what MJ. It's true what they say about MJF and the Miz. He is what they said MJF is, right? Because the truth of the matter is MJF is taking the Miz's stitch. The only difference is MJF is the better wrestler. And let's be honest, MJF doesn't have a muzzle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He doesn't.
He doesn't have a. He'll say things. I saw him when he cut that promo against Brian Pillman in the grave, right? So
Yo, what? And then he said Metheny.
yeah,
Then he said, I was like, ooh,
the things he was
man.
saying, you're like,
I was like,
but then again, but the Miz would have, if given the opportunity, the Miz would do something like that. I think he has that kind of talent.
yeah,
He doesn't
of
feel
course.
the need to do that. He doesn't have to do
he's
that.
a natural trash talker.
He's a national trash, and that's what made his rivalry with Daniel Bryan so good that it lasts.
That was really good.
I want to say it's the best rivalry of the last decade
Yeah,
because,
really good.
but the worst part about that particular rival, it never had the end point it needed. If its end point would have been a WrestleMania match, that should have been a WrestleMania match, right? Because it had everything you want, but it didn't happen. Now he's going to be busy on Saturday next week, right? This coming Saturday, he's going to be busy with Edge and Beth and his wife Maurice. That actually, I think, is going to be a really fun match. I think
it's going to be entertaining.
I think it's going to be a really fun match, and I'm so looking forward to Maurice doing something to the Miz because you know she's gonna. You know what I mean? I could see her just turning on him. And he'd be like, what just happened? You know, and that's how they lose.
Yeah.
So, you know, I can't wait. That's one match that I can't wait to see because I think it's going to be really fun and stuff like that. One of the things I want to just say in regards to the Royal Rumble that always is great to talk about is those funny moments. One of my favorite Rumble moments is Worldwide Slide.
But wasn't
I
that
showed
the,
that to a bunch of
that wasn't that the greatest
Royal Rumble.
Greatest
That was
Royal
the greatest
Rumble.
Royal Rumble.
That is what the
Yeah,
greatest Royal Rumble is remembered for.
Yeah.
I
Think
showed
about
that.
that.
I showed
But
that
you-
to a bunch of friends of mine. Like there's this artist that I know. He I'm gonna give a big shout out to Kid from Canada. He got to meet Titus O'Neil. And I go, oh, I'm gonna show you something about your hero. He didn't see the greatest well actually he forgot about it. And then I posted the YouTube video. And there you go. And the YouTube video, and it's a WWE video, they slowed it down. And
Oh,
you
they
could see,
put it like in different angles.
yeah. And it's like you could see his face where he knew he messed up. That moment right there. You see it in his face. I'm like, oh man.
So that's got to be on my top, right on my top of like favorite funny moments in and because again, that wasn't supposed to happen.
No.
That's what made it so good that it wasn't supposed to happen. And that particular Rumble, it's not remembered because, you know, first of all, it's Saudi Arabia show, so there's some controversy in that by itself, but because it was really long. You know what I mean? It was like for Rumbles usually last about an hour. They're usually about an hour. The shortest Royal Rumble was 35 minutes, which is shocker if you think about it, right? But that was one of those years that they decided to like make it like 1 minute entries, which defeats the purpose, right? I'm a big fan of the 2 minute entries. Give me some time for the guys to fight and then let them out, right? But that one in particular was so funny. Who could forget McMahon breaking not one but both his quads?
Yo.
You know what I mean? The guy breaks both of them. You know, and they say it's hard to break just one, and the guy literally breaks both his quads, and then he's sitting on the mat in the floor just screaming like a little baby. So and you could see Batista like, this is kind of funny. You know, you can see it. They're laughing internally because like this is not.
I do remember that.
So those are great. That was a great moment. Another great moment to me that always stands out. Again, going back in the day in 1990, Hogan Warrior meetup. If you guys ever had a chance to see or actually seen the Warrior Hogan meetup, these guys, these two particular guys with the top of what they were, right? Talking about mid-carders, right? Warrior was the mid-carder at the time, but he didn't feel like a mid-carder. You knew he was building steam, right? And at that time, there was IC and world title, they didn't clash, right? Today, it's like this title doesn't mean as much as that title. But that back then, the IC title was, I guess, theoretically speaking, was at the same level as the world title at that time, right? Because they were like, we always knew the world title was still the top title, but the IC title was always like, okay, he's number one contender all the time, but they never touch, right? So when they lock eyes, oh, that was a big deal. Everybody was like, oh, they're finally gonna fight. And they kind of touched each other, but they didn't get a chance to actually fight each other. Again, they spread them apart, right? Because the money is in the match. So we'll give you a teaser. Back then there were teasers. Now teasers don't exist like they used to. And that's what I miss. I miss that stuff. I miss the buildup. The buildups are always better than the actual thing, unless the match is a good thing. I agree. So that's something that stands out for me. I'm just thinking about other things that stand out to me. The first Royal Rumble. Did you guys know the first Royal Rumble wasn't even the main event of the match? You guys want to know what the main event was? So the first Royal Rumble, the one that Hacksaw Jim Duggan won, was a 20-man Royal Rumble. It wasn't a 30-man, right? It was 20-man. The main event wasn't even a title match. It was a tag team match, right? And looking this information up, when I found it, I was cracking up. It was a tag team match against the Islanders versus the Young Stallions. Now, if you don't know who the Young Stallions are and you don't know who the Islanders are, the Islanders were kind of like a second generation Samoan SWAT team, which was Haku and Tama, right? The Young Stallions were two enhancement talent wrestlers that kind of peaked
Were
up.
they Canadians? Were they Canadians?
No. Paul Roma and Jim Powers.
Oh, okay.
That's what, and they were in a 2 out of 3 falls match. That was the main event in the Royal Rumble of 1988.
Oh,
just to show you,
I was getting the Young Stallions confused with the Rougeau brothers. That's why.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about, but
The
even lower card than that.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? That's something. That was the main event.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
And then I guess it was in Canada, by the way. The first Royal Rumble was in Canada on January 24th, 1988. But that's how far the Royal Rumble has come. That it is WWE's second biggest show. And, I could see the Royal Rumble becoming a 2-day event, just like WrestleMania is, to give more people the spotlight for the actual Rumble match so they can have matches in between, because I do believe that 2 Rumble matches in one night is a lot.
It is a lot.
It's a lot. But this is the era that they have like 6-hour pay-per-views. Or dare I say premium events now, as they're called.
Peacock. Just have Peacock.
Yeah, just a Peacock
event.
Premium event.
WWE Network.
The real one. The real one was really good. I remember 24/7. Remember WWE 24/7? That was cool. I used to love watching their panel shows where they all sit in the panel, they're having their cigars, talking. Those were cool shows. Things like that. All right, guys. Last thing. Who's your pick for this year's Rumble? I'll start with you, Jose, then Edwin, then Sebastian, and then we'll call it. So, Jose, who's your win? Who's going to win the Rumble matches?
For the men? I'm just gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna say AJ Styles.
All right, and for the women?
Women, well, I'm going with the surprise. Hopefully, Paige shows up. I mean, I don't see Bianca Belair winning it again, and I'm trying to think of other wrestlers that would win it. I wouldn't, there'll be others I wouldn't mind winning, but if Paige shows up, if she doesn't show up, if she's not the surprise, I would actually personally like Rhea Ripley to win and get another shot at Charlotte Flair.
Okay. Edwin, what about you?
For the men, if we get the surprise of Daniel coming in back, I like him to go for it. But of course, I'm not.
That
saying
would
that
be
really
great,
happens.
though, if
You
you
know,
would do that.
listen, if the cards are right, the heavens open up, Daniel will come in and join and make the entrance to the Rumble. I feel like he will be the one.
But will he be called Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson?
I think he'll be called Daniel Bryan. You know, but I would have. I would also agree if he doesn't show up, I will go with AJ. AJ will be the guy to take the Rumble this year. For the women, I have to say, for the comments and the way they're going about it with Charlotte, my first goal will be Lita. But if we do get that surprise with Paige, I would love to see Paige taking it. Ripley, I'm not too sure because they have her, you know, doing it the whole with the Nikki Cross thing, which is another thing to talk about. But I see if Paige does make that surprise, I hope they do give her that push to the Rumble.
Cool. All right, Sebastian, your turn.
I'm gonna go with 3. Probably 2 are not. For the women's Royal Rumble are probably on people's lists because I like the Royal Rumble to be an event to use to boost people. It would be fun, but they would never do it, which would be Shotzi. But obviously, they're not going to give it to her. Rhea Ripley
soon.
because it's too soon, but it would be fun. Rhea Ripley, I think it's probably the best choice right now for me because again she also has that physique. She looks awesome in the ring, and again I think she's just one of those people who just needs to still continue to be in that main event scene when it comes to racing for the women's title. For the guys, I'm going to say, and it's not going to happen. I would have loved to see Austin Theory because just to see how much that guy has come through, and especially seeing him in. I mean, believe it or not,
He's
gonna
definitely
give us
gonna
a selfie moment.
He's gonna be in the top 5. I think.
You think he's
Austin
gonna be a top fiver?
I think so, man. With this whole Vince McMahon pushing him, and he just. I'm sorry, man. He buried Finn Balor. You know.
Finn Balor's. I think Finn Balor's leaving soon.
That's
I feel
another
him
topic.
leaving.
That's another conversation. But I definitely see him in the top 5, top 4. Austin Theory.
Jose, here's a question: Do you see Austin tossing Finn at the Rumble?
No, that just pisses me off. The thought of it. That pisses me off. I don't even want to think like that. No, but yeah, that.
Yeah, you know he's out the WWE if that happens.
I think his days are numbered, to be quite honest.
But I see that Austin is really. I see that Vince is really pushing him to a main eventer. Like you could see.
I could see there's something there, but I don't see it there yet.
Yeah.
I'll give him another year or 2.
But I definitely
He's
see
really
him
young.
I definitely see him as the last 4 or 5 in the Rumble. And that alone, I feel like that will even catapult his career, just being in one of the last 5 or 4 there.
Yeah. The women, Sebastian, tell me about the women.
Pick Rhea Ripley.
Oh, that's right. I'm losing it, man. Once you go 45, I was like, did he or did he not?
What mind you, here's the fans, man. Rhea Ripley is so over with the fans. When her music plays,
she has awesome theme.
That arena goes wild when her theme plays, man. I would love to see her and Charlotte Flair.
Her opportunity was missed when she was playing. That was a missed opportunity. They should have given her the strap. Honestly speaking,
I agree.
That was a very missed opportunity.
They dropped the ball on that one, man.
Yeah, especially the way she came out. She had the whole white outfit thing. It felt like it was gonna be like a big moment, right?
Yes.
But it was like
I agree. I was very disappointed. Very disappointed.
You know, another sign of why Flair is overbooked, right? That's a perfect example. If Flair would have lost, she would probably have more credibility for losing than for winning. So that's part.
It wouldn't have messed up her. It would have messed up her momentum or her career. I mean,
no. At this point, she could lose every match moving forward, and she's fine.
Yeah,
it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And that's how you buried the Fiend. He went into a match that certain wrestlers shouldn't have won, and they should have given him those wins.
Yes.
Well, the Fiend was
buried him.
The Fiend was one of those what the hell went wrong moments. you know, I think with the Fiend in particular, his they killed his character in Hell in the Cell. His character was murdered.
Yeah, and the way he came out, he was out for a while before that, and when he made his return in that toy Jack in the Box
Oh
image,
yeah, that was
he's
pretty
walking,
bad.
that was awesome, right? And you're gonna bring him where he's walking down the aisle and he's transforming. They give you that illusion that he's transforming into the Fiend, which is an epic illusion vision there. And then have this Jack in the Box pop up, and you have Alexa Bliss there, and she's has this black goo, and that basically puts him in the trash, distracts him, and have him move like that within minutes was what basically just buried his whole.
And to Randy Orton too. Again, another guy that doesn't need the win.
Listen, talking about
Yes.
the Fiend, I'm sorry, but I would love. I mean, it's not gonna happen, but
Win them.
I would love Royal Rumble, about 15 men in the ring, lights turn off, and you just hear "Let me in," and then everything turns red. He's dead in the center. Everybody's puzzled, looking at him. Lights turn off. He disappears. I mean, that would be pretty dope, but it's not gonna happen.
Nah, I think he's out
he's
for
done.
good now.
No, he's out for good.
Yeah, he's out for good. Whew. So I'm gonna stick with Big E
Okay.
as
The
the
favorite?
men's winner.
The
I think
favorite.
I don't know. I think his loss was their way of saying we're gonna do something with you. So I feel like there's
You
some
really believe
merit
that?
to. I
Have you
think there's
seen
a possibility.
Have you seen the past?
Well, here's the thing. It's like they really do like the New Day. The New Day, they really do like them. WWE likes the New Day.
Well,
And
look what happened to Kofi. They really liked him there.
but Kofi did win the title in WrestleMania.
He did. He did.
Nothing beats Kofi Mania.
I was
Talking
there.
about
I was there
Kofi
at
moments.
MetLife.
Kofi moments in yeah, and I was gonna go there and I didn't go. The money didn't work out the way I wanted it to, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, we gotta go get tickets. It's like, oh, the day that tickets come on sale, you're like, oh, I can't buy them right now. You know what it always happens, right? When you say we're
Yeah.
going, all right. I'm happy I did. I'll be honest. I'm happy I didn't go when I heard what happened afterwards.
Oh, it was so long. Yeah. No. Oh, yeah. When I told you, right? I was stuck in
Yeah.
traffic for like 2 hours, man, just trying to get up
People-
MetLife Stadium.
People didn't get home. That's
That
what
was
happened.
ridiculous. It was ridiculous, man.
It was insane. I know that much because it finished after 12, so everything was shut down on the Sunday night. So yeah, ugh. Whew, don't want to go through. I wouldn't want to go through that. That's why I drive to these
No,
events.
I drove, and it took me
Yeah.
about more than an hour just to get out of that lot. It's
That's crazy. Yeah. So I'm gonna stick with Big E. I'm gonna say my surprise pick is gonna be Cody. I don't know why. I'm just gonna say if it doesn't happen, I'll be okay as well. But I'm gonna say my surprise entry will be Cody. I do believe there'll be other surprise entries, but I think the biggest one will be Cody. And if it's not Cody, it'll be Danielson. It'll be one of those two, because I do believe they gave us the hint in Mickey James, and if they really wanted to be that way, we would have found out Mickey James on the Rumble, and that would have been the big talking point. So what they ended up doing is they stirred the pot. I think that's what they did. They stirred the pot to let us know, yeah, we're coming up with something. Right? Now, again, if it doesn't happen, I will be okay with that too, because it's like you've also done that to me where you stir the pot and you just said, yeah, Survivor Series, right? this past year, right? So I'm gonna say that those are my surprise entries for the men's side. For the women's side, I'm gonna go with Bayley. I have a feeling that Bayley, they shafted her this past WrestleMania when she was one of the hottest people there, right? She had the hottest gimmick, and they had the Bella Twins beat up on her for just to get a cheap pop off of her. She didn't get to wrestle in WrestleMania last year when she was able to. So I think she's going to get the WrestleMania push. Now the question is, will she come out as a babyface? She's still playing heel online, right? In the social, she's still playing the heel card, which I'm totally okay with, because I think her heel is awesome. You know what I mean?
Yes, I agree.
So her heel work is by far one of the best things out there. So I think Bailey's going to win. As far as surprise entry, I do see Paige. I don't know. I do see Paige. And if Paige is a surprise entry, then I'm going to go with her as the winner after that. So if I see Paige, I see her winning.
I
You know,
agree.
because that'll be a Cinderella story at its finest, as they say,
Mhm.
right? But I would see Daniel Bryan winning and letting him finally get that Royal Rumble win that he so desperately wanted.
So
Maybe
that
they
means
think
if he gets the Royal Rumble win, he's gonna main event WrestleMania.
I don't see them saying no to that. I don't see him winning WrestleMania.
I mean, it would be dope. I'd love to see
I don't
that,
see him
man.
winning WrestleMania, but and he's the kind that doesn't care, right?
No, he
He
doesn't
doesn't
care.
care win or
He
lose.
just wants to put up a really good
He wants to
show.
could have put show, and I think AEW would allow that. You know what I mean on their end, and because think of it like this: John Laurinaitis, Brie Bella, they're gonna be there. Why can't he
Yeah,
be there?
that's true. I
You
mean,
know what I mean?
and it's not like he's restricted for
He
wrestling
left on
outside of AEW contracts. They don't restrict any of their wrestlers to wrestle outside of
he's on
their.
good terms.
Yeah.
He left the company on very good terms because
Oh yeah,
he knows he's coming back.
yeah, yeah.
I do believe he knows he's coming back. I think he's at a
No,
stage in his
he even
career
said
that
that
he's like,
he loves Vince. He even expressed that he loves
yeah.
Vince.
And that's why I said Vince will be willing to give him that. Okay, let's have you come in just to get that cheap pop. Now, will Vince do it? I don't know. I think he'll have more of a shot to do it with Cody because of what they're doing with Cody. I could see something happening there, you know.
Okay.
But it's been fun, guys. I think this was great. We started with the other guys earlier. Now everybody is. Now it's time for us to have the final winner. So before we let you guys go, I want you to guys give me one final thing you want to say. Give me a cheap plug and say what you want to say. Podcast, play anything you want. Let's start with Sebastian this time. Sebastian, go ahead.
Getting
Give
thrown
your
over the
cheap
ropes.
plug.
Getting thrown over the ropes. Sebastian Bonet, ready to go watch the Royal Rumble with a nice sandwich and a beer in hand on the 29th. So you could catch me on the podcast Nerds It Around. Me, Tone, and Law, we talk geek, we talk nerdy. We go live every Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, Twitch. And we also interview various different creators. We do like a creator segment before every show. So we are talking about Book of Boba this month. And the other thing too, you can catch me at ImbionCon, which I am the showrunner for ImbionCon, which is a full virtual convention. We are going our third year in a row, fully virtual, in August 20th and 21st. So that is my cheap plug for me. I am out. You're throwing me over the ropes. Yay. Thank you for having me.
You're out. All right. Next up, Edwin. Your turn.
Once again, I want to thank you, Izzy, for just inviting me. It was a blast. First time I've ever done this. You can catch me on my Instagram by Edwin. Basically, do movie props, costuming, 3D printing. So that's what you can see me doing. I love it. Once again, I just thank you, brother. It was a blast. Blast. I appreciate it.
Oh, by
All
the
right.
way, he is dope when he does the props. Awesome. I'm telling you. Nah. All jokes aside, man. There's the details and everything. Dope.
Jose, your turn, bro. G
Man,
bars.
listen, man. I'm just a fan, man. That's all I am, man. I got nothing. I got no promo, nothing going on. I just enjoy, man. I just enjoy wrestling. I said it before. My son got me back into wrestling because it was I was in a bit of a hiatus of not really watching wrestling. When it started, it was going after the ruthless aggression. The ruthless aggression, I kind of declined with watching it, and my son got me back into it. And I always say my son got me back into wrestling, but Seth Rollins kept me watching wrestling.
All right, Jose. Thanks a lot, man. I just want to say thanks to everybody who's been watching the IzzyVerse. We want to have more shows just like this one coming up. We have a Book of Boba Fett season review. We're also going to have some interviews with some top creators in the comic book industry. I'm going to keep it hush hush for now. However, please take this opportunity to subscribe on the YouTube channels. You can find the IzzyVerse in Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, you name it, Facebook as well. We are going to do some more shows coming up soon. We're looking forward to having you and having more moments like this. Thank you for your time, and thank you for being part of the IzzyVerse. See you guys soon. Take care.